What's up, you guys? It's Nico here. Welcome back to my channel. And you might be wondering why I'm wearing plaid ngayon sa loob ng kwarto ko at wala naman akong lakad. Babaliw na ba ako? Bored na ba ako? Yes, sa lahat ng yon. Pero ang real reason kung bakit ako naka-plaid ngayon is kasi i-review ko ang bagong album ni Taylor Swift na Evermore. You might be wondering, it's been so long since Taylor released Evermore. December pa nito rin-release, pero ngayon ako mag-review. Ang best reason lang talaga dyan is kasi ngayon ko lang na-receive yung copy ko from Panda CD Shop. So thank you, Panda CD Shop. Sa kanila ko rin in-order yung folklore copy ko. Ito siya. First thoughts about Evermore. Normally, si Taylor Swift, meron siyang album release cycle na nangyari yun every 2 years. And yung album niya before the pandemic hit was Lover. So that was released in 2019. And i-expect natin na i-release niya yung next album niya in 2021. But then the pandemic happened and then she sort of surprise released an album called Folklore. And we were all surprised by it because it was just less than a year since Lover came out. But then it brought new music to us Swifties, so no one was really complaining, diba? Yung Folklore, complete departure siya sa recent pop album si Taylor Swift. She went completely indie folk. At first, it was so surprising na I didn't initially like it. So yun yung unang pasabog ni Taylor noong 2020. And then 6 months later, bigla niyang dinrop yung Evermore. Nagulat na din tayong lahat sa Instagram niya and Twitter and Facebook niya, in-announce niya yung bago niyang album na naman, which she called a sister album to Folklore. And normally, pag una kong pinakinggan yung album ni Taylor Swift, I don't initially like it. I remember hearing 1989 for the first time, and as catchy as it was, hindi ko talaga siya gusto kasi super stan ako ng Red at the time. But then, nung pinaulit-ulit ko na siya, bigla ko na-appreciate yung 1989. And then, it became one of, in my opinion, Taylor's best albums. Kaya nung una kong narinig tong Evermore, hindi ko talaga siya gusto. Kasi super gusto ko yung Folklore and how different it was and how each track was an experiment on some different type of musical arrangement or production. Tapos, yung Evermore, it was more similar sounding yung tracks relative to Folklore ha. Tapos sabi ko, well, yun naman yung typical sa akin. Ayoko muna album ni Taylor. So give me at least a month before ko magustuhan yon. And then, after several listens to it, ayan, it's one of my favorite Taylor Swift albums na. Fun fact din about me, hindi ko typically gusto yung mga narrative songs ni Taylor Swift, especially if it's not about her, like The Lucky One. Started was a bit first person, but I didn't like the setting. Then, in Folklore, The Last Great American Dynasty, Betty, those two were some of the weaker songs in Folklore for me. And I know a lot of Betty stans, so please don't crucify me for saying that. But going back to Evermore, nung una kong narinig Evermore, puro narrative yung song. So normally, hindi ko talaga siya magustuhan. But as I listen to it more, gusto ko na din talaga siya. So let's dive in dun sa album. This is how it looks like inside pala. That's the CD. It also comes with an advertisement of the Folklore Long Pond sessions and this card of Taylor. Okay, so let's go through Evermore track by track. So the opening track of the album, which is also its lead single, is Willow. And I really like Willow as far as Taylor Swift lead singles go kasi alam naman natin na she doesn't always pick the best lead singles. Me, particularly, from the Lover era was a bad choice in my opinion. But then Willow has this folksy, enchanting melody. The melody is very catchy and the lyrics are beautiful. So there's a line that says, "The more that you say, the less I know." At first, my brother told me that he thought the lyrics were dumb or too simple, but for me, it's about Taylor here is someone who has prejudices or preconceived notions about someone she loves, and the more she gets to know this person, Taylor is slowly learning that this person isn't who she initially thought he would be. So that's why the more that he says, the less she knows. Because she's more intrigued by this person, the more she gets to know him. And it's very telling because in the same chorus, she says, "Wreck my plans, that's my man." And I really like the imagery of life being a willow tree and it just bends to the will of the wind or this person because you thought you would be this person who is fixed, but then someone comes into your life and then changes everything. Next track is Champagne Problems, which for me personally is the best track in Evermore. And in my initial listen to the album, this is immediately one of the standout tracks because of its simple piano arrangement, but then the lyrics just hit you. It's so literal that you can just imagine everything that plays out. It's about this girl who rejects her boyfriend's proposal, and this is just her narrating what's currently in her mind or what she's thinking after rejecting him. And I guess it hurts especially more in this song because if you're in that stage in your life when you've been with someone for so long and you're kind of planning your life with that person, I'm looking at this from the point of view of the guy, right? And then you come to a point where you realize that you just want to be with this person for the rest of your life, and then you gather the courage and put everything on the line just to propose, and then you get rejected. I can't imagine how hurtful that must be if it happens to me or to any other person. And the melody of the song, the lyrics, is just so damn singable, if that's a word. It's just something you can just, very catchy, you can sing along to it. It's very easy on the ears. Favorite lyrics include, "You had a speech, you're speechless, love slipped beyond your reaches, hurt so bad." Also, "Your mom's ring in your pocket, my picture in your wallet, your heart was glass, I dropped it." And it just ties back to that vulnerability that I was talking about earlier. Just putting yourself out there, and this person just, you're basically putting your heart out of your chest and then offering it to that person, and then this person just, you know, drops it. But of course, the best part of the song is the bridge, especially when she goes, "I never was ready, so I watched you go. Sometimes you just don't know the answer till someone's on their knees and asks you. She would have made such a lovely bride. What a shame she's fucked in the head," they said. "But you'll find the real thing instead." And that for me just crushes me because the girl realizes that this guy that I'm rejecting, he's not bad. It's just that I'm not ready. But I wish for you to find someone soon who can give you the yes that you deserve. Next song in the album is Gold Rush. And you can immediately tell that this was the song that Taylor produced with Jack Antonoff because it has this pop catchy vibe to it, similar to how August was in Folklore. The initial vocalizations of Taylor in the beginning of the song here is very beautiful in the ears, and then you get to the song and it's very catchy. And the story of the song is that Taylor likes someone, but that person is very much wanted by a lot of other people, maybe because they're famous or they're too handsome or too pretty. But then you just think to yourself, maybe I don't want to be with this person just because I wouldn't want to deal with the drama that surrounds with being someone so wanted. And then the lyrics that I really like in this song are, "I don't like that falling feels like flying till the bones crush." It goes back to how this song is about wanting someone and then just realizing that this relationship is never gonna work. So falling, which in this sense is falling in love, feels like flying at first because you're infatuated, you're obsessed with this person, you can just see rainbows out of this person's ass. And then when you realize that this relationship is never gonna work, it feels devastating. That's the bone crush. But I really like how Taylor has already imagined scenarios with this person when she talks about the coastal town, dinner parties, and a bunch of other stuff. Next song is "'Tis the Damn Season." And it's also one of my favorite songs in this album because it's so sad. Gumawa ako ng Twitter poll before and on what is the saddest song from Evermore, and it includes Champagne Problems, "'Tis the Damn Season," Happiness, and I think Evermore. At first, no one voted for "'Tis the Damn Season." I was like, why can you not feel the desperation in this song? It's so sad and desperate that you're basically just making yourself too available for this person who you don't know if that person still wants you. And you're chasing after this person. You don't know if you're just lonely or if it's just the vibe you're getting for going home to your hometown after all these years and just reconnecting with someone. And maybe you're just lonely, or maybe that person just is in the right time for you, because you're just maybe bored. I wouldn't say bored, but you're there and he's there and you're maybe wanting some sort of connection. And it's especially sad because this is someone, at least from the vibe I'm getting, someone who escaped their hometown to chase a brighter future, which is confirmed by Taylor because she says that this is the girl who is in Dorothea. And especially when she sings, "The holidays linger like bad perfume. You can run but only so far. I escaped it too. Remember how you watched me leave." So I feel like Taylor here is sincerely apologizing for the hurt she caused this person when she tried to follow her dreams and leave him behind. And now she's maybe jaded by her new life in the city. And when she goes back and sees him she's so desperate just to reconnect and feel things again with him. But you know, he's guarded because she's hurt him before, and you're there just desperate to feel something with him again. Next song is Tolerated. And nung kinuwento ni Taylor Swift to sa Apple Music interview niya, she said that she was inspired by the book Rebecca, and I think she's talking about the same Rebecca movie on Netflix, but completely ignoring the morbid turn of events of that story and just focusing on the initial parts of the story where nandun pa lang sa initial phases ng relationship, and she just tries so hard to be noticed by her husband, and then yung husband niya parang walang pake sa kanya. So yun nga, tinotolerate lang siya kahit anong love and affection ang ibigay niya. As much as gusto ko yung lyrics nung song and how relatable it can be sometimes, because sometimes you feel like you're taken for granted or you're just not noticed, maybe not just by your partner but everyone around you, so you can feel some sort of connection with the protagonist in the song. But I don't like when songs don't fit well into a melody, especially when it's on purpose. So when she sings sitting with your, there's this awkward pause and then an awkward head low. I'm like, why couldn't she just sing with your head low? Why not just make it a single line, right? Why did she have to cut it? It just sounds so awkward to me, and as much as I, again, love the lyrics, I don't find the melody that enchanting. But in the last chorus, when she sings, what would you do if I break free and leave us in ruins, pull this dagger in my heart, gain the weight of you to lose it, believe me, I could do it. It's like, yes, this is the moment where this person realizes that she deserves better. She realizes it now and is willing to take action. I mean, it could all just be wishful thinking because she still sings I Sit and Watch You in the end, but the emotional release of that song is just too powerful. Lesson: don't allow yourself to be taken for granted. Next song, Nobody No Crime. When I first heard it, sabi ko, oh, Taylor went back to country. She's going back to her roots. This sounds so good, so catchy. Sobrang intense ng lyrics kasi there's a double murder going on, and Taylor from her Tim McGraw debut was singing about, I hope you remember me when you listen to Tim McGraw, to cleaning up a crime scene when she murders the murderer of her friend. It's a really fun song. Gusto ko nga siya maging movie eh. I don't know pa kung sino yung bida, but I wish for the main character to be Reese Witherspoon, and then I wish for the mistress to be Jennifer Lawrence. I'm not sure who the wife is yet, maybe Amy Adams, because she can pull off any accent anyway. And the chorus, it's so simple but it's so catchy, and it fits just where the story is at the moment. Whether it's ST talking, it's Taylor talking, or in the last chorus, what Taylor thinks the authorities or the mistress is saying. It just fits so well. When I first heard the line, good thing his mistress took out a big life insurance policy. If you're framing someone for someone's murder, those are the facts that you need, and it just paints the picture more vividly for us listeners. Yeah, nakakatuwa and very exciting. I do wish that the Haim sisters were given solos to sing, but then they just sing in the background for Taylor. But I don't know, maybe Taylor just wants to grab all the minds. I don't know. Next is Happiness. Happiness is an interesting song in a way that different phases of a relationship or a breakup, because when Taylor sings honey when I'm above the trees, I see it for what it is. She's being self-reflective here. The breakup is fresh. She knows that if you take a step back, you can see the bigger picture. And then she sings, but now I'm right down in it. She's just feeling raw emotions. The breakup is fresh and she just wants to wallow or magbabad dun sa hurt and anger na nafe-feel niya. But then she sings about happiness. There's happiness during the relationship. There will be happiness after the relationship. She knows it, and she's telling her ex that we're over, but I do wish that you find someone new and that person will be the new me. But she's hopeful that there will be happiness for the both of them when the drama has subsided. And I guess it's very mature because we know breakups where people just don't talk to each other anymore. One day you're lovers, next day you're strangers, and then it's just so sad that these two people who have shared so much can just completely throw each other out of each other's lives. Pero nangyayari talaga yon. So ang gusto ko sa happiness is in-acknowledge mo na right now I'm feeling the pain, but I know we both will be okay. We will be happy again, just with different people, but there will be happiness again. Maybe my only comment is that the song is just too long. The runtime is too long, but then the lyrics are spaced out given time to breathe, so really can't complain. Next song, Dorothea. Some people say that Dorothea is about Selena Gomez. There are clues and conspiracies about it you can read online. But Taylor has also said that Dorothea is about the girl in the song "'Tis the Damn Season," but this time from the point of view of the guy. And if we were to follow that narrative, I think this song is beautiful because he might not be as bitter as Dorothea in This About the Season initially thinks, because when he lays out, "Do you ever stop and think about me? It's never too late to come back to my side." Alam mo yun, kapag iniwan ka na ng tao for reasons na hindi naman dahil sa'yo, dahil si Dorothea gusto niya mag-chase ng dreams niya, pero pag bumalik, wala kang galit na tinanim, iniisip mo pa rin siya, and gusto mo pa nga good things to happen to her. And alam mo, kapag hindi nag-work out yung chinase niya ng mga dream dun sa city or somewhere else, alam mong your door is always open, maybe if not for a relationship again, but at least for reconciliation and friendship and support. Not a lot of people can give that. Kudos naman dito sa guy, sa Dorothea, for offering that comfort kay Dorothea. But the music itself, it's nice. I especially like ooh, very catchy. It's really nice to sing along to. I really like the phrasing of "a tiny screen's the only place I see you now, and I got nothing but well wishes for you." That's a level of maturity that I wish we could all just aspire to, so we can all be petty sometimes and wish bad things for people who have hurt us, but not this guy. Next is Coney Island. Ito yung song sa Evermore na one of my least favorite. Malalaman nyo later kung ano yung pinaka hindi ko gusto. And then Coney Island, I think, is the second or third least favorite of mine in this album. Well, it's a Taylor Swift song, so maganda talaga yung lyrics niya. But the way the music is, the mood, the tone, it's just something that you can just skip over. But nevertheless, maganda yung song. It talks about someone who is just realizing her shortcomings in her past relationships. And this could be about Taylor talking about her many exes, especially when she talks about different scenarios in the bridge. You can just see na dinalay out niya doon what she thinks of now about her past breakups. And this is her realizing that she played a role as well dun sa breakup nila. And I guess we can all relate doon. Kasi tulad sa Happiness, when you're right down in the middle of the anger, you forget to see the bigger picture. But when time passes by, time takes you out of that mess and gives you a distance from the relationships that have failed. You can see where the faults are. You can see where the other party went wrong, but then also where you went wrong. So this is Taylor fast forward. So maybe it's a trilogy. There's Happiness, there's Coney Island, and then there's Evermore. So here in Coney Island, she's in the middle between the hurt that she initially feels, and then she has given a bit of time, but she's not fully happy yet. But she's there, seeing the bigger picture. We think of something new every day. Next song is Ivy. Ivy is also one of my favorite songs from the album. It's very visual. It's a narrative song, which again, I initially never liked from Taylor, but I've come to love in Evermore. So Ivy is about this woman who has a lover outside her marriage. She's singing about how she is so much in love with this person, but she's trapped in this sad, maybe even a loveless marriage. And this is her taking the chance to maybe break out of the house and running away with this person that she loves. Sobrang ganda. Favorite lyric ko talaga dito is, "I can't stop you putting roots in my dreamland. My house of stone, your ivy grows, and now I'm covered in you." Alam mo yun, kapag in love ka, diba? All-consuming talaga yon. If you're the ground, this person starts as a shrub, maybe, and then over time just grows and grows and grows. Now I'm covered in you. It's very telling of just how overwhelming the feeling of love can be for someone. Ayan. As much as we don't support cheating, well, legal naman ang divorce kung nasan si Taylor. So I just wish for Taylor and her lover to escape from this trap that Taylor is in, and they could live happily ever after. Next is Cowboy Like Me. So if Ivy is about finding love with someone outside your marriage, Cowboy Like Me is a song about two con artists that fall in love where they meet during one of their trips, assignments. I don't know what it's called, but at a time when they're both circling like vultures at this high society party, they meet at this tennis court that was covered up with some tent-like things, having its opening lines ng song. I thought Nobody No Crime was the epitome of Taylor singing about songs that could be taken as dark, but then you find Cowboy Like Me. Con artists aren't usually things that are sung about, but Taylor not just makes a song about a con artist, but a love story between two con artists. So, when will your faves ever? Kaya ako gusto yung Cowboy Like Me kasi very pleasant sa ears, it's very nice to sing along to, but then also very vivid yung storytelling. Gusto ko yung line dito na never wanted love, just a fancy car, kasi haven't we all been there na gusto mo na lang ng fancy things kasi life is hard. But then it's not just all shallow things like that. Kasi you would think na hindi ka makaka-relate sa Cowboy Like Me, but then there's this line na, and the skeletons in both our closets plotted hard to fuck this up. And then you just realize na everyone has their own complicated pasts, their histories, their past sins. And in a new relationship, those things should not matter as much. Maybe you learn from them, but you should not be punished for your past mistakes. And I think it's really important na kapag nasa new relationship ka, parehong accepted for who you are, yung isa't isa. And for some reason, gustong-gusto ko yung line na, now you hang from my lips like the gardens of Babylon. Because as we all know, the gardens of Babylon has already ceased to exist. This is Taylor, I think, acknowledging na eventually someday this relationship will end, the both of you will be gone. But in this moment in time, for now, things are beautiful. The relationship is beautiful. You're happy. It's new. You're in love. And maybe I'm reaching a little bit there, pero yan yung nakuha ko sa Cowboy Like Me. Next song is Long Story Short. At first, yung Long Story Short, gusto ko siya. But then after repeating it several times, I started liking it less and less. Not because it's a bad song. The lyrics are good. But, I don't know, it's just not catchy or pleasant anymore, I think. But nevertheless, i-dissect natin yung lyrics niya. Ang gusto sa Long Story Short is you coming into this new relationship and still feeling optimistic kahit na before you've been hurt or you've lost a lot. Kasi kaya mo nang i-summarize kaya mo nang i-close yung past, kaya mo na siyang i-reduce into something as simple as long story short, it was a bad time. Long story short, it was the wrong guy. Alam mo yun. Kaya mo nang isara yung past. Andun na lang siya. Hindi na siya naka-affect sa'yo now. You're in this new relationship, fresh eyes, optimistic, hopeful. And alam mo na, even if someone brings up your past, she sings in the song, "This time I'm ready." You already know what to do, how to react, and you would do anything just to protect this new relationship that you're in. So para sa mga malungkot pa dyan, ang makuha mo sa Long Story Short is that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You can love again. You can be happy again. Sad ka lang now kasi nga, it's just the wrong time, it's just the wrong guy, and then eventually you will find happiness again. Next song is Marjorie. Yan, Marjorie. So Marjorie is a song about Taylor's grandmother, and it's a partner song in a way to Folklore's Epiphany kasi Epiphany is about Taylor's grandfather and this song is about Taylor's grandmother. And at first, this was a skip track for me kasi I didn't really like Epiphany. So, Marjorie, parang sabi ko, dinismiss ko lang din kaagad. But when I work kasi, music is playing in the background and sometimes I don't have the energy to reach over and skip for the next song. So, Marjorie, when it gets played, I just listen to it. And the more I listen to it, the more I started falling in love with this song. It might be one of Evermore's best songs kasi it talks about grief, then it talks about love, it talks about loss. And the reason I really love this song is kasi nakarelate ako sa kanya on a very personal level. I lost one of my grandmothers when I was 21 years old and she used to live with us. And the bridge of the song really gets to me. In here, Taylor sings, "And I complained the whole way there, the car ride back and up the stairs. I should have asked you questions. I should have asked you how to be." And it hit me kasi when you're young, yung focus talaga is nasa iyo. Hindi mo pa ma-appreciate yung grandparents mo kasi you're young, they're relatively young. Death is not something you think about when you're young. So, hindi mo pa na-appreciate yung time you have left with your grandparents. So, instead of building this relationship with them, it's about you. You're sulking, you're talking back, you're banging up the stairs, you're locking yourself in your room. And ma-realize mo na, sana, I should have asked you more. Yun nga, I should have asked you questions. I should have asked you how to be. Sana you've learned more about their past. Sana na-realize ko before na she led this life before me in a time na I really would not experience anymore. No way of knowing how things were but she was there. She had a life, she had adventures, she had experiences na sana napakwento ko sa akin, sana I learned about it. Taylor sings, because every scrap of you would be taken from me. And at first I thought, ang lazy songwriting, grocery store receipt, parang really Taylor. But then you realize na when your grandparent is taken away from you or someone you love is taken away from you, especially by death, you just want to hold on to every single thing na pwede mong ma-save just to keep the memory alive. And in here, Taylor is desperate just even for a grocery store receipt kasi nga wala na yung grandparent niya. So wala na rin yung grandmother ko. And every memorabilia you would have wanted to keep para lang andun pa din siya with you. So ayun, I miss my grandmother. Next song, Closure. Closure is my least favorite song sa Evermore. Not because the lyrics are bad, the lyrics are, I don't know, it just has a different attitude from the rest of the songs such as Happiness, Long Story Short, and even Evermore, the last song. This song has a dismissive energy, a talk to the hand kind of energy. I'm not sure I like it, but also melody-wise, it's one of those songs much like Tolerated. The words don't really fit well into the melody. But yeah, I understand the pettiness. We can all be petty sometimes. But here in Closure, I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me. The last song of the album is Evermore with Bon Iver. There are 2 bonus tracks, but I'm not gonna talk about them. I'm just gonna talk about the standard track list of the album. I like Evermore because it also has the same vibe as Happiness, where you're not sure at first about what's coming next for you, and then eventually realizing that things will get better. And if Happiness talks purely about a romantic relationship, I don't think Evermore necessarily talks about that, because if you dissect the lyrics, there are shades of what happened with Taylor ever since the 2016 Grammys when the whole snake thing came up, and this is Taylor wallowing in sadness, not feeling sure if she'll ever find peace or happiness again. You can see it in the choruses because at first she sings, "This pain would be forevermore," and then in the last chorus she sings, "This pain wouldn't be forevermore." So I think it just closes the whole journey of Taylor from 2016 until now in a good way. I'm not sure if the Bon Iver collaboration worked this time as well as it did in Exile, but I kind of like the bridge. So all in all, the song is pretty good. So that's it. That's my review for Taylor Swift's Evermore. And if you think that I should review more Taylor Swift albums, please let me know. I would also love to know your thoughts about Evermore itself and all the other songs that I discussed. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!